Okay. We are live. We are live. We are live. Okay, everyone, welcome to our Halachah class. Halachah class number 17. It's very special. I was trying to see something. It seems like I can't do that. Okay. Okay, everyone. Welcome to our Halachah class number 17. We're in the middle of the laws of tzitzit. And we actually switched clarity on YouTube. Baruch Hashem, we have a lot of developments, a lot of things happening. It's been a little busy as usual. But we are, as usual, doing our Halachah class. It's again Halachah class number 17. And we're learning the laws of tzitzit. I'm just going to get back to those laws. Give some people to get on just in case they're not sure. It's a little cold outside, so it's not too late. So it's a good opportune time to learn some Torah while you're cozy in your bedrooms or in your dining rooms or in your living rooms, wherever you may be. Okay, so we welcome you all, and we're going to start. And those that come on a little later could surely watch it thereafter. And okay, we're holding by paragraph 11. And yes, the Halacha class is both on Facebook and on YouTube. And we have a playlist on our YouTube library for specifically for this Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. And we are holding by paragraph 11 and Siman and section 9. Muter little talis. It is permissible to take a talis shel chaverei of his friend. On an occasion, gam shalimi daiti, even without his knowledge, both to daven with it and to make blessings upon it. Why? Because it can be assumed. There's a concept that we learn that it is comfortable for a person to do a mitzvah with his. It's okay. It's good for a person that a person does a mitzvah with his money. Obviously, as long as there is no loss of money. And therefore it's something very important that we should your money with your mitzvahs, with your like talis. Therefore it's important to let people take it, even though he didn't know about it, even though he didn't ask you if he could take it, right? Meaning to say that, yeah, he saw your talis in shul, and he picked it up and he started wearing it and davening with it. And you possibly might walk in on him and say, "Hey, hey, what do you call it? What are you doing with my talis on?" So the point is that in this regard, the Torah tells us that he is allowed to. The Shulchan Aruch tells us that you're allowed to use it, and you don't have to feel like you're stealing, God forbid, because you're doing a mitzvah with it. And a person actually, as much as he might maybe be shocked, or hey, what happened, or where's my talis, and then he'll see it on someone's head, on someone. But at the same time, at the end of the day, he's happy that someone's doing a mitzvah with his money, and that's the reason why a person is, to begin with, allowed to go and take someone's talis. As long as, again, we said, as long as there won't be a chisaron kis, as long as there won't be a loss of money. Give me a second. On the class, I see he's on YouTube. Welcome, Herb. Thank you for watching. Welcome, Corey, on Facebook, and all our visitors that are. And all our visitors that are not identifying themselves. Anyway, so next, as long as there won't be a loss of money, meaning to say, if the person is going to start using your thing, he's going to take your talis and turn it into shreds, then it's a chutzpah. Then, he's going to rip it on the floor, then it's a chutzpah. If he's going to go take your things and abuse them, then it's a chutzpah, then it's wrong, then it's a gneva, then it's not permissible. Then if that's what people are doing, then definitely that is not allowed. So we have to take that into consideration. I think I need to turn on my Wi-Fi over here because we're not getting good uploading over here. I think it's choppy. I hope everyone sees and it's steady. My phone, I think it was a little choppy. I think it should be good now. I hope it is. Let me know if not. Comment. You're welcome to comment. We left a section to comment. Okay. Seems okay to me. Anyway, so the point is that as long as he's taking care of it and he's not making him lose anything out on it, for sure it should be okay. However, he may not take it out of the place where it is there. Oh, Herbert's using Herb, you're playing games with me. You're on YouTube or you're on Facebook. Very good. Okay, as long as you're watching. That's the main thing, as long as you're with me. I couldn't start without you, Herb. I have to say this class was started in the merit of Herb. It's my chavrusa, and he gave me the opportunity to do it live so that everyone should enjoy. Everyone should be able to participate. That was my request, and he was more than happy that others should enjoy, and because I felt it was important that everyone should be learning halacha, and if we could spread it to the masses at the same time, that was important. So I'm very happy you're here with us. Okay, so he should not take it out of the home. Should not take it out of the place that it was there. He's going to start taking it with him to his house, to other places. The talis, that's a problem. Because maybe his chaver actually is concerned. Is going to be concerned about such a thing. And that's why he should not be doing that. And what if the talis was folded nicely? He says like this, he should go and make sure to refold it. He should refold it. When he finished, he should make sure, if it was nicely cut to fold it, he should make sure to refold it. On Shabbos, and on Shabbos, when it's forbidden to fold garments. Yes, we spoke about last week the concept of folding. We mentioned it briefly, and it is important not to fold. So, therefore, because you're not allowed to fold on Shabbos, Lo yikapli, therefore, if it was done on Shabbos, one may borrow the talis, but should not fold it after using it. Because you're not allowed to fold because there's a forbidden law. There's a prohibition not to fold on Shabbos. So therefore, definitely your chaver, definitely your friend, will be meichel you. He'll be okay with the fact that you are not folding it back up, and he won't be upset because he realizes it's Shabbos. I would like to state again something we mentioned last week. It's very, very important as from Jews, religious Jews, or at least those that want to do their best to do the right thing. And it doesn't mean that if you're not following one thing, that in this thing you don't have to follow. Okay? Like we always say, just because you're not holding in a certain place in one area in Judaism doesn't mean that the other mitzvah is not a mitzvah. If you didn't override a prohibition, there's one more prohibition you didn't override. Whether in other areas you're lacking. And this is something that's so important to keep on emphasizing to Jewish people, to Noahites, to whoever it may be that needs to keep their laws, because it's not all or nothing. It's one mitzvah at a time. It's every single mitzvah you do is important and special. And even though you're not holding in one, if you're doing the other one, it could be sometimes the smaller. It seems like such a simple mitzvah or a simple transgression that you're not overriding. And then the major one, sometimes it's harder for you. And you might think, hey, the major ones I'm not doing, so the simple ones I should do 100%. If you're not holding by the major ones and you're still not overriding the simple ones, doesn't mean that you should intentionally go and override the major ones because the rabbi said that it's okay that I just do the simple one. No. It's important to do everything. It's important to get to that stage that you should be able to continuously keep on increasing and doing more and more. But if you're not holding there, if you're not there yet, don't say to yourself, because I didn't do the big ones, I shouldn't do the small ones. It's not true. Or because I did a terrible sin just the day before, I shouldn't do a mitzvah today. Who am I to do a mitzvah? This whole concept is what we call anova shel sheker. It's called that false humbleness. And therefore, it's very important for us as Jewish people to always remember that. And being that we're talking about an isser of folding, which is a simple thing just to fold. And sometimes we have an excuse that we're lazy and we don't want to fold. So now you have a good excuse. It's actually also going to be, you're going to be doing a mitzvah. You're going to be not doing a prohibition by not folding on Shabbos. And therefore, I have seen many, like we said last time, I've seen many from religious Jews in the synagogue. They're keeping Shabbos. They're not driving. They're making kiddush. They're doing all the 9 yards on Shabbos. But when it comes to the talis and shul, they're folding it up right after davening. When they do Adon Olam, Asher Malach, in a lot of the Ashkenazic shuls, or if they're not, but whatever it is, at the end of davening, they're folding up their talis and putting it either beside them or taking it home. It's forbidden. You're not allowed to. It doesn't matter what talus it is. You're not allowed to fold your talus. It's a prohibition of the Torah, and therefore you're meant to leave your talus. And that's why on Motzei Shabbos, on Saturday night, we say, it's part of the school of Shalom Bayis. We say these different things that are auras for is to fold your talus, is to wash the dishes, and all these different things. That also we heard from the Rebbe and big tzaddikim. They taught us that these are things that will help for Shalom Bayis and things like that. So that's why you will notice also the rabbis or the congregation, those that know the law, that after Shabbos they'll be folding up the talus right after Ma'ariv prayers, after Havdalah, they'll be folding their talus. But definitely don't do it on Shabbos, and therefore your friend will also, he'll be okay with it. He'll forgive you because he knows it's forbidden. Why did I bring up this whole preface? Because you might say my friend won't forgive me because he's into folding his talus. So now you at least will have something to tell him that you're not allowed to, and therefore he should forgive you, just in case he does get upset because he doesn't know. Regarding one who borrows a talus from another, just to go up to the Torah. Yeah, it's very common. It's very common by us, Chabad, many synagogues. They're putting on the talus for the guy that's going up. He's not married. He's not wearing his talus, but for the Torah reading, he's wearing his talus, whether he's a kid, meaning a 13-year-old or even an older person. Or perhaps he's not davening right now, right? He could be even a married person. But he's just not davening, so he's not wearing his talus, but he's getting called up to the Torah. It's customary, it's only appropriate, it's only menschlich, it's only nice and bakavadik and honorable to put on the talus when he goes up to the Torah. So in that case, where he's asking from his friend to borrow his talus, like we do many times, to give to the person, just to go up to the Torah, yesh safek im levarech alav, there is a doubt if he should be making a blessing on it. In such a case, because it's such a split, it's just to go up to the Torah. Okay, and therefore, the borrower should have in mind that when taking it, that he does not want to acquire it as his. And then when we know at that point, when he has that intention in mind that it's never going to be his, then for sure, according to open, he does not need to recite a blessing, as explained above, because of what we said above. What did he say? Sorry, 1 second. I'll double check that part, what he's referring to, but l'chura, most probably what he's trying to say is that the mitzvah is he makes a bracha on the talus that he acquired, on his talus. Once it's not his talus anymore, or he's not really wearing it, meaning the concept is that he's not, it's like, I think he's trying to go back to what he said before about the fact that if the talus is not really on him, then he without him realizing, then he's not allowed to make a, then he has to make a bracha again, because it's really not on him. So meaning to say, the concept is that when it's not his talus, meaning it didn't become his yet, it still belonged to the other person. It's still as if on the other person. It's still the other person's mitzvah. By him, there's no really concept of him making a bracha because it's not on him. It's like as if the talus was off of him. Then if he decided to acquire the talis, then the talis would become his. I'll double check that for sure, but that's probably what he's saying over here. Oh, phew. You're live. Okay. Today's day and age, it's amazing. They could even put me back onto my YouTube channel that died. Okay, fine. Yeah, this is the world we live in. Any questions? Herb, you always have good questions. No questions tonight? You drinking some soup? Anyway. Let's continue. Let us continue. As well, if anyone knows of nice Torah sites or places or what groups, etc., that they could share these Torah classes to, bring people awareness and learn more Torah and do more mitzvahs, this is a very, very special opportunity. This is not for my sake, believe me. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this to, of course, it teaches me a lot, but I'm also looking to learn with others and spread the light to others. So if we could do that all together as a partnership, as a community, as one big happy family, and do this, spread the light and spread the warmth of Torah and mitzvahs to others, and not just keep it to ourselves, I think that will be a very nice thing to do. So even whether it's now while the class is going on, share it with others, share it to your pages, share it to your groups, share it to you name it. Or if it means that after the class is over, you want to share it, it will be saved. Oy vey, no soup. Okay, so Herb, you gotta get the soup. You gotta have the soup. I guess we're gonna make sure to have some soup. This Shabbos, some soup maybe. It's a good idea. Some hot soup. You think we could have some hot soup for the daytime? Anyways, let's see what we're talking about over here. So he says like this. If we're talking about the talis that belongs to the congregation, it's everyone's talis. It's everyone's talis. Therefore, even if you just took it just to go up to the Torah, you must recite a blessing when donating it to have it because his own personal time. Communal talis is bought with understanding that it should belong to whoever puts it on. That's pshat. The pshat is when it's not on you, when it's not really yours, when it's not your mitzvah. So that's it. So you don't say a bracha. However, many have the custom not to recite a blessing even in this case. Yeah, the Mishnah Berurah says there are those that have the custom not to recite a blessing even in this case, but even when it's communal. But he's teaching us over here that really because it's a communal talis, it's forward on that it should belong to whoever puts it on. And because it belongs to you, because it's yours for that time, you make a bracha on it. Now we're going to paragraph 12. And here we're talking about what type of tzemer, what type of wool we're talking about for the tzitzis. Right? You might have asked, how does it have to be? Herb, is the broadcast on Facebook clear? Because I tried switching things around, put YouTube on the clearer version. I'm gonna have to fix things up. But if it's very clear or it's coming out just great, then we'll keep it that way for the future. Just wondering what you think. Let me know later if you want. To me, it seems a little fuzzy because of the platform I'm using. That's why you might enjoy it better on. You might enjoy it better on YouTube actually today, at least today. Usually not, but today yes. Thank you, Herb, for sharing. Thank you. Wow, this is a man of action. We have to learn from Herb. He does what's right. That's it. Let's continue. What type of wool are we referring to? type of wool are we referring to? Okay, good. It's a good sign. That means for Facebook, they take care of my clarity. For some reason, YouTube is not very good at that. Thank you, Herb. So, what type of tzemer or what type of wool are we talking about? Tzemer, stam tzemer, potato peskim. The word tzemer, wool, when it's used without the specification of Torah, works the halachic authorities with tzemer rechalim ve'elim. Refers to the wool of rechalim and elim. It's rams. It's wool. It's sheep's wool. The talis shashti ushal tzemer, regarding the talis in which the wrapped threads are wool, va'erev ushal tzemer gefen and mesh v'kedema, but the weft threads are cotton or silk or the like. Elipuch, or in the opposite case, she'erev ushal tzemer shashti u'minacher, where the weft threads of wool or the wrapped threads are another material. Yoshmaim le'yivarech al talis kazeh. When it fears heaven, should not recite a blessing on this type of talis. Mishum the yashem the gamtzis ushal tzemer, even tzitzis of wool, and pater not beged shumi minei. Only potter, only with a beged of its own type. Likewise, tal shomeshi, silk towels, what's his name, shel tzemer, this is going to be of wool. Yivarach alav, you should make a bracha on it. For the same reason, Ella, yivarach tal shel tzemer. Where the talis and the tzitzis are the same amount, same type. And he should wrap himself on it. And then afterwards, he should take it off, he's out the bezen, and then he can put the meshing on. What are we talking about? Perhaps you're confused. So let me explain. When we say the word semer, it's referring to when he says over here, the concept of tzitzis, strings that are affixed to a garment, we're saying that the tzitzis have to be affixed to a garment of wool. He's saying like this. A second. So he's saying like this. He's saying something very interesting. I just want to make sure I'm saying it correctly and it should be understood. The woolen garment, when you're weaving, okay, I guess they used to do the weaving themselves back in the day, right? Crocheting or whatever, and sewing, etc. And today we do a lot of these things by machine. But the concept of weaving, when you weave, you're weaving one into the other. And he's saying like that. He's saying that when it comes to a garment, and the weaving was a different material. It wasn't wool. So one weaved into the other, but into a different material than wool. And he mentions, what was the material? One weave from one end, the weave that was going into the other was of wool. And the other weave was of cotton or silk, or if it was the other way around. So we're talking about the garment itself. That is a problem. He says that that is a problem. Yerushalayim, one who fears God, should not make a bracha on it. Why? Because why would we say that in such a case? We should not, the one who fears God should not make a bracha on such a talis, because there are those that already say like this: the tzitzis of tzemer, the actual tzitzis itself, the strings that are of wool, they are not pater, they are not exempt, only with a beged, only with a garment that is its type. And the same would be a talis of meshi, a talis of silk. The garment is of silk, and the tzitzis of wool. He shouldn't. There are those that say lo yivarech alav, he cannot make a bracha on it, because if either the tzitzis and the garment, and we mentioned a little bit previously, we mentioned something about this, that if they were two different types, when it was the garment and the tzitzis, we shouldn't make a bracha on it, because there are those that say that. But he says first you should make a bracha on a proper talis that has the woolen, with the woolen tzitzis, everything the same, and he should make a bracha on it, and then he should remove it, and then he could be misatif b'zeh. Then he could take another talis that, let's say, it's not made of wool, and its own tzitzis are of tzemer. And therefore, because of that, he's saying because there are those that say so we're saying that being that we see that in a case where the talis is not of tzemer, is not of wool, and the tzitzis are, and it's not going to be okay. Therefore, also in a case where the interlocking of the garment itself was mixed, not even wool or linen, but mixed wool and silk, or wool and silk and cotton. There also they'll say that a Yerushalayim, one who fears God, shouldn't, because we see this concept that with the tzitzis itself that are of wool that was mixed with the garment wasn't of wool, it's not okay, and you can't make a bracha. Therefore, Yerushalayim, even in the garment itself, Yerushalayim should not let it be mixed, and we shouldn't make a bracha. What are we saying? He's saying that the point is why should we say Yerushalayim, one who fears God, shouldn't make a bracha on even a garment that was mixed? What's the chiddush? The chiddush is that even though the tzitzis are still wool, even if the tzitzis are still wool, being that we see that when he mixes it with a garment, when he mixes it with a garment that's of a different type, it's not okay, even when the tzitzis are fully wool. So when it comes to a garment, that the garment itself is mixed, it's better that he shouldn't, even though it's just the garment. The tzitzis are still wool. And then he says, in a case where the talus was, let's say, of silk, and the tzitzis was of wool, he shouldn't make a bracha on it, because the tzitzis are of wool, like we mentioned, and the talus is of silk. And there, even though the tzitzis are fully wool, but because the talus is of silk, you shouldn't make a bracha. Should make sure that the whole talus is of wool, and then with the tzitzis, and then afterwards, he should take it off, and he could put on this talus that's made of silk, even though the tzitzis are fully wool. And that is what we see from this law. And then he says further, what if, he says further, if the tzitzis themselves are of silk, tzitzis itself is silk, matching the actual beged, there he can make a bracha on it. Because since both the talus garment and the tzitzis strings are made of the same material, then it's okay. Says it's not common to find tzitzis of silk. Since tzitzis strings must be spun from the raw material with the intent that it's to be used for mitzvah, and raw material of silk is not available in this country. Therefore, how do you know that it's going to be done properly? In other words, therefore, it wasn't common. But his point here being is that when it's a situation where they're different, it's a problem. And because if they're different from the tzitzis itself to the beged, it's going to be a problem. From the garment to the tzitzis, they're not the exact same type. It's going to be a problem. And therefore, also when it comes to the beged, the garment itself, if they were intertwined with a mixture, he says, you're a shamayim, the person who fears God should also be careful with that. He says further, what if he has some silk tzitzis strings and some wool tzitzis strings? Okay, so he said Yerushalayim should be careful with the beged, with the actual garment itself, that it shouldn't be mixed. And he should be careful that he doesn't mix between the garment and the tzitzis. What if the tzitzis itself was mixed? God at faith, even worse than having woolen strings, only woolen strings. It's worse than only having woolen strings. But again, the whole point is, or mainly I should say, is that the tzitzis are woolen. And that's why he wanted to bring us a concept of, you see woolen tzitzis, but you don't see the beged, and it was a problem. So therefore, when the garment is that way, it's also a problem. Meaning the tzitzis is mainly have to be of wool. But if the woolen tzitzis, if the tzitzis is mixed, it's even worse. So it's a problem by the garment, but it's even worse by the tzitzis. They lost his skin, and therefore, you should never do such a thing. Mix the actual tzitzis. Some of the tzitzis like this, some of it's like that actual strings. You should never mix them. Sorry, for bending over. Okay, we're holding by paragraph 13. Paragraph 13. Now he's going to tell us laws of what happens if one of them are ripped. And I would say that hopefully by next week, or if not next week, the next week after that, we will be holding by the laws of tefillin, which is very interesting. We teach bar mitzvah boys all the time, so this is going to be nice to go over these things from the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. And it's sometimes nice for even adults to appreciate the laws of tefillin once again, even if they learned them prior. Tzitzis tassel. Part of the strings, that it was lost from it. One of the strings from the 4 strings. So again, don't forget, it's 4 long strings, and we bend them over, like we said in the past, to make them 8. Into 8 strings. And there remained, after it was severed, cut off, enough strings to make a bow. The measuring being equal to arba gedulin, 4 thumb breadths. Or if 2 strings were severed. And there were only, and each one of them had 4 thumb breadths remaining. 2 of them are totally long enough. What's the law? The law in that case is ksheda, the tzitzis tassel is valid. Would you believe it? Even in a case where the tzitzis tassel was so cut, you could only make a bow with it, which is 4 thumb breadths. Or even if 2 of them were cut, and each one of them had that amount, and the other 2 are fully whole, that's what matters most, that you have fully whole ones. But what if 3 of the strings were cut? Even if each one of them had those 4, but it was 3 that were cut like that, and the 4th one is full. And he says further, or if only 1 full one was cut. Here, sorry. And doesn't have any more, but there did not remain at least the length of 4 thumb breadths. It didn't have at least 4 thumb breadths left on that one, or even though the other 3 are okay, nevertheless it is totally puzzle. Except in a pressing situation where there is no other tzitzis available. Again, if there are there's 4 strings, long strings, we bend them over, okay, to 8. So the 4 long strings, if one of them was cut, or 2 of them was cut, but the other 2 are fully whole, and those 2 that were cut, they have the amount of 4 thumb breadths, and you can make, which is the amount of making a tie for both of them. Either if one of them was cut that amount, or 2 of them, doesn't matter, still kosher. But then he says, if 3 of them were like that, and each one of them has the same thing, and one is fully whole, that means 3 of them are like that, cut, and they have the 4 thumb breadths, but when one of them is fully whole. Or even if one was fully cut, just one, but totally, and the other ones are fully whole, it's totally possible in those cases. This is the way it has to be. You have to measure. You have to go and say like this. And that's why we say that when 2 sides of a string, meaning to say, if this one was ripped totally, this side was ripped, if it was 1 and you have the amount still of 4, and it was only, and there's 4 thumb breadths left, which is the amount you can make of a tie. So we said, even if 2 of them were like that, it's okay, as long as they have that amount, right? It means, technically, what we say is when it's totally tied together and you don't know if it's from that one or not. So if it's from one, when one gets cut, you know for sure, right? After it's all tied up, right? The whole thing is tied up now. It has 2 sides of 4. Okay, we bent them over. You don't know after you already made the whole crocheting. After you made the whole crocheting thing, right? In this end over here. You made the whole crocheting and all that stuff. You don't know what belongs to which. So when you cut this one, when this one, God forbid, cuts off this string, you don't know which one is the other string, technically. You don't know. Meaning from the same side, you will know. But from the other side, what if it was cut from the other side? It could be a full string that was cut. It could be it's a different one. And like we said, if it was a full string that was going to be cut, it's going to be puzzle. But because we don't know, out of the doubt, we're going to make it puzzle. So this is what you'll learn out from it. And it could be he's going to continue saying that. Didn't get there yet, but I'm just trying to bring out a point that once it's already tied, based on this law is very easy to understand when everything is not tied yet and you have full long strings still to work with. And you still don't see how those 4 long strings are tangled together yet. So you could say, yeah, if one is ripped like this, one is ripped like that, you'll understand what to do. But what if they're already tied together and now you rip this one ripped off and officially there's another side to it and that other side has 4 gidulin, 4 thumb breadths. So it should be kosher from the other side of it because we said as long as it has left. Okay, but what if the other side ripped from the tied up one? It could be it's that one and then it doesn't have anything left. It could be it's not that one. If it's not that one, then fine, you're allowed to have 2 like that, we said. But if it is that one, you're not allowed to have one totally off. So that's where it gets complicated. That's where you have to do it based on the situation. So meaning to say, if it's from the other side, we're going to say it could very possibly be the full one, and then it's a problem, and he's not wearing kosher tzitzis. Because one full one is, but maybe not. But because we don't know, and he has to, what do you call it? You have to be very careful that you're not missing one. And because in that case, it's very possible it is that one. Therefore, we're going to say it's possible just because of that. Now, if it was from the same side, so if 1 or 2, let's say if 2 are ripped off, then we could say, fine, there is 2 are ripped off from one side, there's still 4 thumb breadths. Whether 1 was ripped or 2 are ripped from the same side, there is still the amount of 4 thumb breadths from the other part of it, of that string. And we said as long as there is, even on 2 of them, the amount, then it's okay. So fine. So that's good. What if 3 were ripped off from one side? Then if 3 were ripped off from one side, then what do we have? We're left with 3 strings that are missing, that have 4 thumb breadths. That wasn't allowed. We said once 3 strings become the amount of 4 thumb breadths left, then we're in an issue. Then we say it's already possible. So once he gets to 3, the amount of 3 from one side ripped, even though he has left of 4 thumb breadths on each one of them, because it's 3, it's totally not possible. So either it has to be 1 full one, which would end up being from the other side, because the other side is where the other side of that of 1 full one is. It would have to be from both sides, and that would be considered 1 full one. Or from the same side, it would have to have 3 in order to make it possible. He said no less in time of need, and he has no choice, he can still wear them. And he'll explain how that could work. We're going to conclude in 2 minutes. Where's the time? Okay. And therefore, if one of the strings were severed, and that's what he's explaining, basically what we're saying now, what we explained just now by heart, that if one string was severed from the 8 strings of total after they're already put together, even if it was completely severed until the braided portion of it, like the end of it, like I showed you from one side, it's still for sure it's going to be kosher. Because this string is it's only half of the string, because the other half is on the other side. And we said as long as there's left 4 gedolin, 4 thumb breadths is okay. There's still on the other side, the amount of a tie, or more, or like we said, 4 thumb breadths. And then even if 2 strings were of the 8 were severed, and neither of the 2 had 4 thumb breadths remaining, even if 2 strings of the 8 were severed, and neither of the 2 had 4 thumb breadths remaining. If the tzitzis tassel was made in such a way that there is a reason to be concerned, that perhaps 2 strings are actually the 2 ends of the string. What did we finish saying? We said What did we finish saying? We finished saying that it is, like we said, that if it's from both ends, meaning it was from one side and from the other side, and mostly was cut, and there's no, so then in that case, it's like a full string that was taken off. We said then it would be treif. It wouldn't be kosher anymore. But if he is sure that it's from two separate short strings, are two separate strings, meaning at the time that he put them together, diktek likshatamit. He always remembered he was constantly, sometimes when you put in the crocheting or you're mixing, you're tying the strings, right? We said there's 4 long strings and he ties them, he bends them over and starts tying between the two. But sometimes he's medactic, he's careful which one goes to which, and he'll know which one is which. And a lot of times it gets mixed up, and that's what we don't know. So if he's saying, if you really surely know that that other string that is cut is from a different one, in 2 ends of the same side of the knot were severed in cane. In that case, the 2 short strings that are severed are certainly from 2 separate long strings. Again, and therefore he's saying basically what we said. And therefore, if there was still shir abra gedul and yeser from 2 of these strings, and he knows it wasn't from the same string, that's still good. And 2 strings are still good. The tzitzis are still kosher. If one string was totally cut off, what if one string was severed at the part of the string that is between the hole and the corner of the garment? Between the hole and the corner of the garment and the first knot. It's hard to show you, but it would be there. If it was ripped at the top there, it says a new law. Tzitzis tassel is invalid. Because that means that the whole tzitzis was ripped, in other words. It's cut off. As long as it's still here for the first knot, as long as it's from the corner till the first knot, which would be the corner. How does he refer to it? One string was severed. Makim chain tlin at the part of the string that is between the hole in the corner of the garment and the first knot. And the first knot. So then anything there at the first part of the anything at the first part of the tzitzis that was cut, that means the whole string like that was cut. And that's like one string that was fully cut, like we said, is going to be a problem. We end this halacha zeh. This is what we said. If one string was totally cut, but it still had a sufficient amount to tie a bow, ksheter would be valid. This is only in b'shas hasiyah, at the time the tzitzis was made, when they were put on the corners of the garment, they were all the right measurement of but afterwards they were cut off. In b'shas hasiyah, however, if the time when they were putting them on the beged, katzarak mashum nashir, that was even slightly shorter than the required measurement. If when they were putting it on, it wasn't done right, so long, like we mentioned already originally, numerous times before. If it was done right to begin with, that's okay. It's more about the issue is if it was done right to begin with, that's okay. If something happened afterwards, sometimes in certain situations. But if it wasn't done right to begin with, that's where the issues arrive. And here he's saying, even though after it was done already, we said that this amount is okay of tying or 4 thumb breaths. But if that was the case at the beginning when he was putting it on, it wouldn't be okay. Even if it was slightly cut. Not even that amount that was left. Not even that amount that we're saying is still kosher afterwards. That's only if it happened afterwards. If at the beginning even a slight amount was cut from one of the chutin, it's a problem. It's going to be totally possible. Again, because the main thing is that it has to be done correctly to begin with. We're holding by paragraph 14. We'd like to thank you all for watching. Hope you understood. It's fairly complicated. This is like laws of tying, laws of crocheting, the expertise of knowing how to crochet, but not just crocheting anything, crocheting tzitzis. Obviously, if the laws of crocheting is a lot easier, and you can make mistakes and you can fix them up, and no one's going to know anything, and no one's going to know the difference. And we could always say it's kosher. Your blankets, your pillows, you name it, whatever you want. When it comes to tzitzis, if you do it, it's like a mezuzah. If you do it wrong to begin with, it's messed up. It's like you can't do anything with it. You have to put it straight in, like we say by mezuzah, you put it straight in gniza, you bury it. That's what happens pretty much with tzitzis. It's not possible to use anymore. That's why you have to be very careful. This is not just a garment. This is not just a random thing that you're putting over yourself like a shirt. When it's being made, there are so many laws, like you've seen, so many technicalities and details. And that's why we're going through it step by step. And this is only the kitzur. This is what we call only the abbreviated format, like I say with everything else. So you can imagine how much more laws there are. There's a full book just about the laws of tzitzis. And we could go into that in the details of that at a more different time if you would like as well. And we hope maybe by next week, maybe we could finish, or in 2 weeks, maybe even by next week, the laws of tzitzis. So thank you all for watching. If you have any questions, you're welcome to let us know. Scott Halpern, welcome. How are you? And Benzi, always nice to see you. Yes, this was very complex. And like I said, it's very detailed. You got to be very careful with these things, and that's why they have experts doing them and people that are God-fearing making them. And that's why if you want to take a turn of making them yourself, as long as you know what we're doing and we're with guidance and everything, and you want to do it right and make your own nice pair, we could do that eventually too. But yes, it's very, very detailed, and that's why we're learning these laws now, just in case you end up coming across it yourself, being stuck at a time where you can't go to the store and buy tzitzis, but you have the tzitzis on you and you don't know, is it not kosher? Is it kosher? Yeah, sometimes, the easy way out is just to go buy a new pair. Sometimes that's what people do because they don't know. But now that you're learning the laws and you will know, or if you're in a position where just, even though you don't like, let's say a lot of people don't like tzitzis in this, how do you say it, in this ripped up way, right? All the strings are getting frazzled and it's not nice. So they buy a new pair of tzitzis in a situation where you don't have that opportunity. If it's Yom Tov, if it's Shabbos, if it's even during the week, but you're stuck, you need to know, am I wearing kosher tzitzis? Am I not wearing kosher tzitzis? Do I have to borrow someone else's tzitzis? Do I have to go out of my way to get another pair of tzitzis from someone else that has maybe things like that? It's very important. That's why, as much as you might say, I don't make tzitzis, so I don't need to know, don't forget, a lot of the laws we're saying is about a person who's already wearing them. And therefore, because it's about a person who's already wearing them, it's important that a person should know what he has to do next. Maybe he doesn't have to waste money either. So that's why it's very complex, and it's important to know them, to know the laws, and possibly even hands-on to actually make tzitzis would be nice, and see how to do it right. And that way you get a better idea of it. It will be ingrained in your mind, the laws as well. So as much as you buy them already finished, don't forget that not always after you buy them already finished, number one, buying them, they might have been done incorrectly. So it's always important to check and see yourself that they are done right, like we're learning. And perhaps they get ripped, and you need to know, like we're saying here, what the law is. But of course, buying them finished is always helpful, because there's that big part of it, that making the tzitzis, which is hard to do, that we discussed a little bit too. But I think a lot of what we're discussing now is not even about that part. It's about really where things are getting messed up, things are being ripped, etc. So it's always important to be careful. Thank you all for watching, and thank you for your comments. Hope you all enjoyed. Have a good night, and have a safe and warm night, and tomorrow as well. Very warm. Be very warm, stay warm, be careful in the weather. It's a little dangerous outside tomorrow. I hear it's going to be very, 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 very cold. and all the water that's outside is drying up, and drying up in the sense it's not drying, it's getting ice, black ice. So be careful where you're walking as well. And yeah, make sure your tzitzis is on you, so it always keeps you protected. And remember what's important. And it's Erev Shabbos, so we wish everyone a good Shabbos. It's Erev Shabbos Mevarchim, Chodesh Adar, the new month of Adar, which when Adar comes, we increase in happiness. Whether it's the first Adar or the second Adar, by the Rebbe, it was very important. If anything, it's an increasement of even more happiness, because it's 2 Adars, and we start from this Adar, from the first one. So everyone together should get ready for that. And at Chabad, don't forget, we're going to be here, and we're going to have exciting Shabbos together and bless the new month, and say L'chaim, and dance and sing in honor of the new month of Simcha, of Adar, and learn some Torah. So please spread that as well to anyone and everyone. Number one, to go to shul, and if you're in the area, please come to Chabad. We'll be here at 9:30 to learn Torah in the morning, and 10 o'clock we will start services for the whole family, everyone to enjoy with a Kiddush. And if anyone would like to be a kind sponsor, please let us know if you could be a kind sponsor. We need to delegate, so we need new sponsors. There's always the kind people that show their support, and we thank them very much, the Shermans, but they want to see as well others that are giving tzedakah. It's important. They're trying to teach everyone else how to give tzedakah. So it's important. Everyone should show their support as much as they can, to the best of their ability. It could be a combined effort. Each person wants to chip in a little bit. It's also beautiful and nice. And thank you, everyone, for all your kindness, always. And have a great end of the week and a warm one. All the best. Thank you for watching.